Let's get caught up on where we are with the Democratic presidential primary. Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders. Hillary Clinton has a very large lead nationally in the Democratic primary. But according to a new Quinnipiac poll, Bernie Sanders is still faring better in hypothetical matchups against some of the more likely Republican presidential candidates. So, nationally first, Hillary Clinton currently leading Bernie Sanders by an average of about 59 to 30, or about 29 points nationally. However, we have this new poll from Quinnipiac University, which compares Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders to the four more likely Republican presidential candidates. Let's take a look at this, Lewis. Or where do we want to start? Comparing to Ted Cruz first, if I may. Hillary Clinton leads Ted Cruz by 5 points in a hypothetical matchup compared to Bernie Sanders, who leads Ted Cruz by 10 points in a hypothetical matchup. Hillary Clinton leads Donald Trump by 6 points compared to Bernie, who leads Donald Trump by 8 points in hypothetical matchups. And Hillary Clinton leads Ben Carson by 3 points compared to Bernie Sanders' 6-point lead. And lastly, both Hillary and Bernie lead Marco Rubio by 1 point. So this supports a couple of things. Number one, many of these are sort of within the margin of error, which suggests that actually there is not a drastic difference in many cases with regard to Hillary versus Bernie against the major candidates. But it also supports an idea that I'm increasingly thinking is the right sort of path, which is that Marco Rubio may be the strongest Republican candidate nationally. And we see that Hillary and Bernie both have the smallest lead against Marco Rubio, and that Marco Rubio has been surging within the Republican primary as well. I think Rubio is going to be a contender here on the Republican side.
Yeah, well, I hope so, because he's the least crazy
In many ways.
in many ways. And so that's what we said to begin with. Well, that we thought that Bush was too. It seems Bush doesn't have a chance, so he's kind of out of the picture. But yeah, Rubio. At least, Dave, I don't know if you saw that commercial of his. At least he can catch and throw a football.
Yes. Definitely.
I kind of like that.
And we know that, John Kerry was just killed for once where he sort of juggled a football that was thrown to him. Yeah. On the Republican side, according to the same Quinnipiac poll, and this is not the average of all polls, Donald Trump is in the lead with about 27% support. Marco Rubio in second place at 17%. Ted Cruz and Ben Carson tied at 16%. In an average of national polls, it is still Trump and Carson. So we may be starting to see Ben Carson fall out of favor and Marco Rubio fall into favor. This is only one poll. However, this particular poll does look pretty good. I looked at the party identification. I looked at cell phone versus landline phone. I looked at racial demographics. It seemed like a pretty good poll overall. And what may be going on in part is that the front runner, even though they may do well with regard to favorability, the more known they are, the more unfavorability they will have, merely because some people will see the front runner and say, oh, now that I know more about them, I don't like them. So to sum up, Bernie Sanders, slightly more electable than Hillary Clinton versus the hypothetical Republicans, although within the margin of error against many of those candidates.